Religious intolerance was so common in the earlier centuries. People who differed from the established religion were condemned as heretics. It was a major crime that killed millions of people and led thousands more to seek freedom from the countries of their birth. People who failed to take on the religion of the state were tagged as heretics and burnt. Today, these religious intolerance-based persecutions exist in China, some Islamic countries, and some communist states. In the Western world, it is gradually creeping back in other forms. For several weeks now, students in several U.S. universities have been protesting and camping on campus grounds to seek justice and freedom for the Palestinian cause. Some of these protests have turned confrontational, with police being called to draw many away and clear the temporary tents set up on the campuses. These protests have caused many universities to cancel their classes and graduation ceremonies. Notably, the demonstrations have also targeted Jews. I ask myself, what do they aim to achieve, and will they achieve it? Is it drawing people's attention to their cause or making them more enemies? Will that stop the war in Palestine? While they seek for justice for the Palestinians, are they also asking for the release of the hostages held by Hamas? While they protest far away, Israel is already invading Rafah, the last and only remaining Hamas stronghold. There are many Muslims being persecuted in China, and many Christians are being persecuted in Islamic countries, yet who demonstrates for them? Just last 2 weeks, the homes of Coptic Christians were burnt down in Egypt. Why? Because it was rumored that they were going to build a church. For this reason, their homes were burnt. In Nigeria, more than 8,200 Christians have been killed by Islamists between January 2023 and January 2024. It is estimated that more than 50,000 Christians have been killed in Nigeria within the last 14 years. In northeastern China are a Muslim ethnic group called the Uyghurs. For many years, the Chinese government has been systematically warring against this ethnic group. Their men are taken away forcefully into detention or concentration camps. Their women are sterilized. In the worst cases, their organs are harvested for organ transplants. Within these concentration camps, the men are re-educated by being taken through forced renunciation of Islam. After the men are taken away, the government appoints someone to stay with their families and also ensure that they stop being Muslims. What's their crime? Islam, their religion. For those who are born into free societies where divergent views are tolerated, this may seem shocking. However, in societies where other forms of dissent are not accepted, practicing any other form of religion other than the accepted state religion or government can be a death sentence. Such situations also exist in certain Muslim-dominated countries where any other form of religion is anathema or forbidden. It was such repression of religion and divergent views that forced millions to run from the shores of Europe to America, Canada, South Africa, and Australasia, where they can worship God in the freedom of conscience. Religious intolerance was so ripe in Europe during the medieval and Middle Ages that millions, including the Waldensians, were murdered for being heretics or nonconformists who did not believe in Catholic doctrine and teachings. After King Henry VIII's defection from the Catholic Church to remarry, he had several kids with subsequent wives. His daughter with his first Catholic wife, Catherine of Aragon, called Mary Tudor, or Bloody Mary, later ascended the throne after the death of her infant brother, Edward VI. Being Catholic, it was her studied aim to return the country to Catholicism, contrary to what her father and younger brother had done. In 1620, persecuted and dissatisfied Christians in Plymouth, England, set off on the Mayflower to found a new colony in the New World across the Atlantic. Mary thus lighted fires at Smithfield. She burnt down all dissenters who failed to submit to Catholicism, earning her the nefarious name Bloody Mary. The prisons were filled with heretics, the streets of Smithfield were stained with blood and its atmosphere, with the smoke of burning humans. Gradually, governments around the world are becoming increasingly intolerant, authoritative, and repressive. Through cancel culture, persons dissenting from the status quo are banished from social media. Whereas persons ascribing to LGBTQ+ are protected, those dissenting are hated and banished as anti-progressive. Indeed, you cannot even speak against the accepted norms of the progressives, so-called. The media has an agenda, and it is their way or the highway. If you doubt, just take a step back and see their bias. So, where is the tolerance for dissent? Are we nearing another Smithfield fires? Another Kristallnacht? This is the time for all discerning ones to follow global and social events closely, that we be not overtaken by surprise. Paul was right. Let's not sleep, for we're not of the night that the day should overtake us. 1 These 5:19. Let's pray continually for the peace and safety of the earth. A happy Sabbath to all the sons and daughters of God.